One thing that a number of people have expressed concern about while I've been here, and that's the activities of the security services like NASA. Now, are you happy that they are doing things right?
Well, if you just go to all sorts of characters, you don't give me their names, I don't know whether they're criminals, whether they're prostitutes, or whether they're thieves, and you ask me to talk in the abstract, I can't answer that type of question.
Please listen up to the end. This is the recording of Dr. Obote at its best. You won't regret. Listen up to the end. In today's recording, the then very popular BBC journalist called Robin White interviewed Dr. Obote in 1983. It is said that later, after this interview, Robin White confessed to his colleagues back in the Bush House in London that he came to interview Dr. Obote unprepared. He didn't research his topics well. But he said he wished he had researched, because Dr. Obote ran circles around him during the interview. If you love such recordings, please subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that I can notify you the next time I post another heritage video like this. If you haven't done so, that is. But if you have already turned on the bell notification, please like this video, like and comment, say something. Tell me in the comment section below which video, which recording you'd love to watch. Now let's dive in and listen together.
The economy is progressing, the politics of Uganda are stabilizing, transport is there, trade is progressing, people are moving freely. There is no disappointment whatsoever in Uganda.
I was thinking of yourself personally, whether it had been a
Why
happy
should
time.
I be disappointed when my people are not disappointed?
One problem that you have had, sir, is the problem of dissidents continuing to fight in the Luero Triangle. Now, how soon do you think this problem might come to an end?
I can't give any definite date of how soon the problem may come to an end, but the fact is that there has been no expansion of dissident areas at all. If anything, their numbers and the areas are shrinking.
Are you determined to win a military victory there?
I'm not determined to win any form of victory in that sense of your questioning. I want to stabilize Uganda. The whole purpose of the elections in 1980, the platform on which my party was elected was to bring peace to the people of Uganda. And these are criminals, and we have got to deal with the criminals within the laws of Uganda.
It has been suggested, sir, as I'm sure you're aware, that you should sit round a table with Yoweri Museveni and sort this matter out.
This is not a personal matter between me and anybody. This is a constitutional matter. We have had an election, we have got a parliament, we have got constitution, we have got the laws of Uganda, we have got high courts. If there are differences, political differences, let them be settled politically. And the one way of settling political differences is elections. Another way is to go to the courts. And I am not going to deceive the people of Uganda that someone who loses an election should be accommodated in any administration after he has gone to the bush and shot a few buses and ambulances and killed some people, nurses, teachers, students, and then we bring him back to government, in which case you forget about the constitutional means of governance, because somebody else is going to repeat the same kind of thing. Then you are going to have another meeting, then a third person will do it, you are going to have another meeting, a fourth person will do it, you are going to have another meeting. I have rejected that type of suggestion, and I'm correct there. And I'm sure the people of Uganda will support that line in the next elections.
Is that what you think Mr. Museveni wants? You think he wants a job in this government?
It is not me who brought that question, it's you. It's you who brought that question, that why should I talk to Museveni? I said it's not a personal matter as far as I'm concerned.
But what do you think Yoweri Museveni wants through fighting? What is he after?
I don't know. If I knew, I would be very happy, because I really don't know. Museveni was a member of the military commission. He was number 2 in the military commission. He and the rest of the members of the military commission organized elections. And soon after elections, he decided to fight. And he hasn't progressed very much. In his own area where he was born, he's not effective, he's not known.
Whatever the wrongs of his case, wouldn't it save a lot of life and a lot of money to talk to him?
I told you it is not a personal matter. Why do you think Museveni is all that important in this country?
Where is he?
He lost an election. He has no party which is viable in this country. Your name is Robin. Do you remember the history of England called Robin Hood?
I do.
Yes. Is it worthwhile talking to Robin Hoods of this world? Baden-Meinhof in Germany, the Irish Republic army people. Is it worthwhile talking to such gangsters and terrorists?
The strongest advocate for talks is not coming from opposition politicians, it's coming from the
I have answered that question, I'm not going to answer anymore. I have said I do not accept any proposal about talks, and I'm going to make this an election issue. You wait for the votes.
Do you think the forthcoming elections could in any way lead to a way out of this impasse?
What impasse? There is no impasse. The mess of the country is very peaceful. Even Luero is very peaceful. We have administration in Luero.
But do you think after the elections that the trouble might end some way?
Please, I've told you I'm not answering anymore. If you came here to talk about the dissidents, Bob Museveni, let us stop this interview.
If I could turn to the elections.
Why don't you talk about the whole western region, which is peaceful, much of Buganda, which is peaceful, the whole eastern region, the whole northern region? Why do you talk about a handful of gunmen? And you take my time, 30 minutes, 1 hour, to talk about a handful of gunmen? You came all the way from London for this purpose? No wonder members of parliament in Britain sometimes talk about starving the BBC from funds, because you waste public funds in this type of way.
If I could turn to the elections, how do you see the next elections going?
It's going to be conducted in the normal way.
Do you think you're going to win these elections?
I think so. I can't see another party that can win this election. Our record is there. We have done some work that in 1980 people didn't know which direction Uganda would go. Everything was declining. Not today. So that with that kind of record, I can't see another party really giving us a terrible challenge.
Will you stand on your economic record, will you?
Every record, political, economic, and otherwise.
If I could talk about the economy, which things have gone well and which things have gone badly, do you
We
think?
started from almost position 0. Everything has started moving upwards. Obviously, they cannot all move at the government by 2 factors. 1, we have food in Uganda. When I came to office, there was no food in Uganda. Now we are feeding ourselves, and we are exporting some of our food. 2, our export earnings are increasing. Now, these are most pleasing developments.
There have, I'm sure you're also aware, been criticisms of your human rights record in this country, particularly from the United States of America. Now, how upset have you been by the accusations?
I have not been upset in the way you probably think I should have been. I've been upset in the sense that if you refer to the statement made by one American official in August of last year, in that he made a generalized statement but could not give us evidence to prove that the facts of that statement. If you go to Luero, you will not find any single possibility that a government such as mine could have murdered about 250,000 people within a few months, and yet no graves and no statement from the general public. So that one was very hurtful. But as I say, we are not trying to run this government for the pleasure of people abroad. We are trying to run this government for the good of the people of Uganda. And these are our people. These are our people. when people talk about human rights in Uganda, they don't seem to understand what they're talking about. I inherited a very difficult situation in 1980. I found 7,000 men in jails, former main soldiers and other characters. I have released all of them except about 35, all of them. We have settled them in the countryside. We inherited a police force of 3,000 only, when in 1971, when Amin took over the government, we had 20,000 police officers and men in the force. But this 3,000 was not trained, it had no equipment, it was demoralized. We had no army to speak of. Uganda army was too young. It had been recruited on a fractional basis. Half of it, that force deserted in December and January, December 1980, January 1981. So that was the enormity of the problem. Now we have stabilized the conditions. You do not now hear gunshots in Kampala. You do not hear people talking about lawlessness of soldiers or anybody. So people, they are dreaming.
It's not just the outside world that has expressed concern. I mean, some lawyers in this country have expressed concern about what they describe as violations of human rights, like people being detained, like people being released by the courts and then rearrested.
Very well, very well. You say some lawyers in this country, you go and ask them if their counterparts in other parts of Africa are as free as themselves here. Go and ask them whether they were free at all in 1970s to go to court, to take government to court, to plead different cases, to talk about detention. Go and ask them whether in other parts of Africa there is no detention, and how many of their colleagues in other parts of Africa have been so open as to speak about their respective governments. These things are in comparison. If you say detention is a sign of a violation of human rights, then you may have well condemned virtually all African states.
But doesn't it make a mockery of justice if people are released by the courts and then rearrested outside?
Well, does that happen only here?
No.
There you are. Then go and ask everybody else.
Perhaps people have higher standards in this country.
What people have higher standards?
Well, people have greater expectations of justice.
Yes, and they should have it. They're going to have it. But something has to start from a base. Our courts were not functioning 5 years ago. They're just beginning to function now.
Did the accusations that were made by this one American official you were talking about, have those allegations caused a good deal of friction between yourself and the United States?
No. We sat down with the Americans. We went through the whole thing. We agreed to work together. No friction whatsoever.
One thing that a number of people have expressed concern about while I've been here, and that's the activities of the security services like NASA. Now, are you happy that they are doing things right?
Well, if you just go to all sorts of characters, you don't give me their names, I don't know whether they're criminals, whether they're prostitutes, or whether they're thieves, and you ask me to talk in the abstract, I can't answer that type of question because I don't know of any activity that can cause anybody, activities of NASA that can cause anybody any concern.
These are lawyers and also members of the opposition.
Well, you talk about lawyers. How do I know they're lawyers? How do I know? I take your word, you will not take my word. How many lawyers have you interviewed? You find a few dissident lawyers and you concentrate lawyers. What lawyers?
I'm sure you. So they're not dissident lawyers. I mean, they're respectable.
Why do they wait for Robin White? They have newspapers here. They have the law courts here. They are taking government every week to court. Why haven't they taken one NASA officer to court? Why haven't they written about it in their newspapers? Why should they wait for you to come all the way from London? You haven't been here for 5 years. Are they going to wait another 5 years when you come? Who is preventing them from talking? When you have been here a week, you have seen opposition papers writing all kinds of things. Have you seen any writing like that on NASA? Go and ask them. I hear you are going tomorrow. Go and ask them to write it tomorrow. and it will be published on Monday, you will find that they will not be taken to jail.
If I could turn to the army, I think you'll agree that it was very hastily recruited before.
I was not responsible for that recruitment. I wasn't here.
It was recruited in great haste just before liberation and also after liberation. How do you see the army now? Do you think it's in a good state?
Yes. Yes, it is in a good state. How many countries, third world countries, can raise an army under 4 years, under 5 years? How many? We are trying to do this thing practically with our own resources, but we have been tremendously assisted. A number of African states have come to our assistance: Kenya, Tanzania, Sudan, Nigeria. We have received some assistance from India, from Britain, bilaterally, from the United States. We have received assistance from the Commonwealth, from Korea. So, but how many countries can raise an army under 5 years? But we're trying to do it. And the shape of the army is good. If you not come here with the idea of only talking to people in Kampala, you had gone around. No talk whatsoever in Uganda about the army. No talk whatsoever.
Are you satisfied that it is now a disciplined body?
What are you talking about? I am telling you that we are raising a modern army. We are training the army. We will continue to train the army. And there is no talk whatsoever that the army is not doing what it should be doing in Uganda. That kind of monster you have in the BBC African Service does not exist on the ground here. It does not. If it existed, you would have seen them. You have been here for 1 week. You haven't been arrested by the army. You haven't seen them walking into your hotel. And because you know that this is true, you failed to go outside the Kampala because you didn't want to be faced with the truth.
As you rightly say, a lot of people come to Uganda to stay in the capital, Kampala, where I think you would accept you are not the most popular person in Uganda. It's not the area where you have the most support.
What are you talking about? I'm the most popular person in Uganda, and the facts are there. My party got the biggest electoral votes in 1980 elections. We got the biggest number of elected members in the parliament. Then what other criteria do you want? I'm the most popular person by virtue of leading a most popular party.
I'm talking about here in Buganda. Do you accept that there is a particular problem for you here?
I have no particular problem in Buganda. I don't have. If you are meaning that in the 1980 general elections, the majority of the voters in Buganda voted for the Democratic Party, I don't think that's a special problem for me. In fact, you should be encouraging me to allow this democratic process to continue rather than blaming me and misreading the situation and thinking that there's a particular problem in Buganda for me. If I have got a particular problem in Buganda, then all other parties have got particular problems in 3 provinces.
I would have thought it would present a particular problem being disliked in the capital of the country.
They don't dislike me at all. There's no proof that Baganda don't like me. No proof whatsoever. These are imaginations.
The impression I get, sir, is that in these elections, the people here in Kampala will not vote for your party.
Does that matter? They will be exercising their democratic rights. You want me to stop them exercising their democratic rights?
Not at all, but doesn't it make the business of government difficult?
It does not. It doesn't make the business of government difficult. We shall have a parliament. One party will have one election, other party would have lost. So we continue with the business of government. One country, one parliament, one government, one people, one country. There is no problem where government can be worried that we are doing wrong because of tribe. There is very little tribal fiction in Uganda. Very little.
Do you think the system of government in this country is the right one for people who are so conscious of their own tribe?
But what do you want?
A federal system, I'm suggesting, might work.
Well, let us go to elections. Let one party propose a federal system and let the people decide. My party does not believe in it, but it does not stop other parties believing in it and putting two proposals in front of the electorate. Whichever the electorate decides, we shall accept.
What about the state of your own party? Is it a united party?
Oh yes, it's Uganda People's Congress, Congress of the People of Uganda. Yes, it is.
There do seem of late to have been some arguments going on at the top among ministers.
What argument?
Arguments, for instance, about who has the right to organise election meetings in Uganda.
Oh dear. Well, I read another London paper, January edition of the Africa Confidential, listing a number of ministers who are going to be thrown away by me. Now, another paper said, no, those are the ones who are very close to voting. Now, this is the kind of dreamland in which you people... UPC has always been an open party. There is no division in UPC. The point that you are talking about is not a split at all. It's not even a matter that can concern anybody. See? It is not.
You talk about ministers. Since you came to power, you've hardly had a government reshuffle at all. Why is that?
Why should I have it?
Are you satisfied with the performance?
But why should I have it? Please, don't ask me these kinds of questions, because governments get reshuffled in other countries and whatnot, and you ask me also to do reshuffle. There has been no administration in Uganda throughout the 70s. These ministers you are talking about, when they started in December 1980, they were also permanent secretaries. They were directors of their departments. They were writing cabinet papers themselves. They were writing profiles for development on themselves. They were doing all kinds of work that civil servants should be doing. This is not a blame on the civil service. But the fact is that during the 70s, the civil service was also not working. So it is only about now that my ministers are beginning to surrender what they were doing on behalf of the civil service. Just about now.
It has been suggested to me that you might be hoping that in the elections certain ministers might actually lose and you'll be able to reshuffle your government in that kind of way.
Look, you are not a god to know my mind, are you?
No.
Then don't ask me something, supposition. I can't answer supposition of your creation. You come here, you think if I say, yes, some ministers I want them to lose, do you think my command under the UPC constitution is to go to every Ugandan who is of apparent age of 18 years or more and who believes in UPC policies and principles and who is not mad, and recruit that person into UPC. And I'm under command to recruit even my brother Paul Semugere into UPC. That's the command of the constitution of my party. Now you want me to discard others who are already in the party? Go back to London. You can't have it here.
Are you master of your own party?
I'm the president of the party. I'm the president of the party. And you know it.
Turning to relations with your neighbours, are they good with all of them, or are you having some problems?
Very good with all of them. Very good. Very good with all of them. This is one of our finest achievements in these last 4 years.
Did you have a difficulty patching up relations with Kenya because they weren't good immediately after you came back?
No. One of the first messages I received after the elections was from Kenya, from the president himself. And one of the first, the very first visit I paid outside Uganda was to Kenya, January 1981.
What about with the Sudan, where there seems to be a good deal of trouble at the moment in southern Sudan?
With Sudan, we have got very good relations. Very good relations with the government.
Are you frightened that the war in southern Sudan might have serious repercussions for you?
It's a sad development that there should be trouble in Sudan, when Sudan as a whole, like many African states, are involved in a lot of economic problems. They have got drought, they have got refugee problems and matters of that kind. It's a sad development. But if the war continues, certainly there might be quite an increasing number of refugees coming to Uganda. We border with Sudan.
What is your attitude towards the rebels in southern Sudan? If any of those rebels came across the border into Uganda, what would you do?
It depends on what grounds they came. If they came asking for political asylum, that's a different matter. If they came and handed themselves to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, that's also done separately. If they came with aggressive intentions, we will have to disarm them and then prosecute them within our laws.
Your other neighbour, Tanzania, President Nyerere, has always been a great friend of yours. Are you still very close friends?
We are very close friends, yes.
Have you had any disagreements over anything since you came back into power?
No.
Does he still give you advice on things?
What do you mean by give me advice? Since when did he give me an advice on anything? Can you give me 3 items on which you can quote and say, President Nyerere gave you advice on this, on that, on that? Can you?
I always imagined that he did give you advice at one time.
Don't put your imaginations to me. Leave them to yourselves. I'm not a child for you to treat as a child. You just talk about your imaginations. I'm a president of a country. You insult me by saying that somebody else puts ideas into my head, and you see it in my capital, and you think that is good journalistic freedom. You are abusing your freedom. You are abusing the hospitality we are giving you. You are insulting me.
I didn't intend to.
I think you are not a very good person. I think you are not. You don't respect the opinion of the people of Uganda.
How much longer do you think you're going to spend it in politics?
The question does not arise. I am still in politics. And by Eastern standards, I'm still a very young man.
But how many terms could you see yourself standing?
That is not for today. You come back in 5 years' time, I will answer that question.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, go and distort anything you want. I've given you everything from the bottom of my heart.
If you enjoyed it, please press the like button and comment. Tell me what you want to watch next. And also, there are other similar recordings scattered around my channel here. Please watch others also. Comment, like them also, likewise.